Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Man, oh man, this game has been going since late 2016, and it is still a thing, still actively getting DLC to this very day. And this is a game that, I played briefly back in 2017 or 2018, I can't quite remember. I played, a fair amount of it and then put it down because I had such like a big backlog for some reason. It's one of those weird things. Have you ever played a game and then you sort of lost interest in it? Even though you knew it was a good game and you started playing something else and you just never went back to it. But then I started playing Kakarot a few years later, and I did my review of it here on this channel early last year in 2021. And I expressed how much I enjoyed that game, and it made me want to go back to Xenoverse 2 because it shared some of the same elements, obviously a different game. But I realized that this was a game in Xenoverse 2 that I should have been playing to completion a lot sooner. Now, this is definitely one of those games that's a crazy challenge to 100% it. There's so many different features to it. There's so many different things to do in this game. Now, if you're going for the story mode, it might not take you that long, but you're definitely going to want to level up, and you're definitely going to want to do a lot of the side quests, that's for sure. Xenoverse 2 is not light on options. It's definitely a game that respects the Dragon Ball universe, loves the Dragon Ball universe, and really delves deep into it and its lore. And I absolutely love it. So, I've never played the first Xenoverse. I definitely plan to do so eventually. But the one thing that needs to be talked about is this game's story and what it involves and how you factor into it. You get to create your own character. And to me, that's just astounding. Yes, you could do that in the first Xenoverse game, I know, but I didn't play it, as I said, so I was shocked to see this, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I know there was also games before Xenoverse. I know there's always going to be people out there that are going to bring that up. But, I haven't played every Dragon Ball game as big of a fan as I am. I think that'd be almost impossible. I think there are some major fans that, haven't played even less than I have, probably. But it's fun, and I really enjoy creating a character. I mean, this is something that really had a lot of care in it. They give you quite a bit of options, and once you actually create your character, you can even change their clothing, and that even has different stats to it, and you can even make your own stats. You're going to be earning experience points and level up, and you're going to be able to spend attribute points on different aspects of your abilities, such as your ki, your power, your attack power, your defense, so many different things, and I absolutely love it. You can make your own DBZ character. You could be super muscular, you could be super lean, you could be super tall, you could be super short, you could be whatever you want to be, basically. And that's so fun because that's what the Dragon Ball universe is all about at the end of the day, colorful characters. You look at the Dragon Ball characters and the cast, and they're some of the most iconic characters of all time, anime or American cartoons, you name it, and now you can make your own. And to me, that was very exciting upon first discovering this when getting the game. Now, as much as I enjoy playing as the Dragon Ball cast, and trust me, you'll get to do that, not in the main story mode, but it definitely is more intimate to be able to create your own character. And, you could also take more liberties with the story, I feel, by being able to assume the role of someone other than the main cast. And I enjoy that, and I think it was a smart move at the end of the day. Now, I read up on the first game, but it doesn't really seem like you need to play the first Xenoverse game in order to enjoy the story that's going on in this game. So, you're the newest member of the Time Patrol for Canton City, and this game takes place in a different city than in the first game, but the villains basically remain the same. Sans for one, but we'll be able to see that particular villain later on through DLC, and I'll talk about that eventually more towards the end of the video. But Mira and Toa, who I talked about in my Kakarot review, are the main villains this time around. Now, your job as a time patroller is to right the wrongs and any anomalies that are in the Dragon Ball timeline. And this is a really fun aspect, and we also see a character by the name of the Supreme Kai of Time, and this is a Kai that was introduced for the Xenoverse series, and she is in charge of keeping the timeline straight, and she uses the time patrollers in order to right all those anomalies the right way. And you'll be working with Trunks and a unnamed hero that is heralded as a legend in Kanton City. And this is a really fun story, and you'll be seeing a lot of familiar faces throughout the main story. And that includes heroes and villains. Goku, Vegeta, Krillin, everyone's along for the ride. But you'll be facing off against the likes of Nappa, Cell, Frieza, even the movie villains. And there's a pretty heavy emphasis on these guys because Mira and Toa are hanging out with Turles and Lord Slug, and I absolutely love this that they're repurposing them. Also, they've got Bardock in a mask, and they're harvesting his power as well through that very mask that he has on his face. And I think Mira and Toa are great villains. They are very intimidating, and Mira's ever-growing power makes him a very big threat. So you'll be seeing some really interesting anomalies like Nappa being able to turn into an ape, which is something that you did not see in the original series because he died before they even got a chance to do so. So you'll see both Vegeta and Nappa rampaging during the Saiyan Saga. A lot of times, though, I gotta say, there is a bit of a samey sort of context, like that the villain is more powered up thanks to Toa than they should be at that particular time, which leads to you needing to step in and right that anomaly. I think they kind of used that a bit too much, and I think they kind of could have gotten a bit more creative at times instead of just having the villain being OP. You know, I think they could have come up with some more interesting things, such as Nappa going ape when he's not supposed to. You know, they could have done that a bit more and more. But it's always fun. It's always entertaining. And when the movie villains get involved and you see things like Cooler teaming up with Frieza, it's kind of hard to complain. But I think they could have been a bit more creative at times, and they kind of keep pedaling off that same, you know, oh, we're just going to power up the villain, you know, and they do that, you know, just once too many times. They go back to the well one too many times with that little trope. And I just found that to be a little bit on the lazy, uncreative side. But in the grand scheme of things, after you're done playing the story mode, you're not really complaining because you had a really good time. And the game definitely has the Dragon Ball sense of humor down to a T, with the Elder Kai and the Supreme Kai of Time always bickering amongst one another. Even Beerus and Whis show up, and, you know, it's funny hearing the quips and, you know, other characters that are in the timeline reacting to what's going on. So there's always fun to be had. And it's the original voice cast, and, you know, it's just a lot of fun to hear everybody getting involved. And, you know, and of course, all the voice actors play their roles to a T, and they're just knock it out of the park, just like they always do. Now, you might be saying to yourselves, besides this story mode, you know, you mentioned, Brad, that there were other things that I could do in this game, and there sure as hell is. There's tons and tons of stuff to do, side missions, and you could learn different techniques from other characters in the game that are spread throughout the hub world. And you could receive training from Vegeta, you could learn his Gallic gun, Goku can also train you as well, and then things get really surreal when Cell and Frieza are available trainers. There's so many different possibilities. and you can mix and match your supers and your ultimates, and you could really have quite the arsenal. And, you know, pulling off supers and ultimates is very similar to how it is in Kakarot. So I readjusted quite well to playing this game because I played it so close together. So it's fun, but it's one of those things that it's like easy to pick up, I think, but kind of difficult to master. And you really won't last too long in these fights if you don't know a few more techniques. But I feel if you kind of hit some combos in, and you hit a super or an ultimate right away, you're usually going to win the fight most of the time, as long as your level is not too lower than your opponent's. And I love this hub world. You look up in the sky and you see a giant, almost like apparition of Shenron, which is amazing. There's a Dragon Ball shrine. There's different spots around the map with different terrain. It kind of looks like the Dragon Ball universe fused together. You have the rocky terrain. You have a spot that looks like Planet Namek. You've got high cliffs and trees. You've got a more forest-like area that looks around where Goku's home is. So, and the city area, which looks like West City. So it's kind of weird and surreal, but then again, you're like in another universe, so it kind of makes sense that this place would look weird and unnatural. And the fact that you're also above the clouds, Kanton City is above the clouds, and you'll also find time rifts around Kanton City, which will allow you to access Bulma's house, Mr. Satan's house, Frieza's spaceship, Planet Namek. You'll also get access to different missions by visiting these places. You'll be able to protect Namek from Frieza's men and search for the Dragon Balls. You'll be able to also visit Boo and feed him, and he'll give birth to children. Yes, apparently so. And you'll be able to train with Vegeta over at Capsule Corp. Not to mention join Frieza's ranks aboard his spaceship, and so you could tell there's just a ton of different things that you could do. You never feel like you're at a loss for things to keep you busy, and that's just great. I mean, you always feel like you have so many options, and things never start to wear on you and feel overly monotonous. You always feel like you're in control of your adventure, and it's great to have all these different types of options. And I really like this one size fits all Dragon Ball world with the hub world interconnecting everything that you have access to. And if you make your way over to the reception area, you could also participate in one of the other big attractions of this game, and that is the parallel quests, which throw things at you that are similar to the story mode, different interesting scenarios, and sometimes you'll even find yourself fighting the good guys, which is a lot different for a change. And there's over 100 of these fucking bad boys. It's totally insane. And in this mode, you can actually choose to team up with the Dragon Ball cast, and you don't have to play as your created character. You could play as Goku, you could play as Vegeta, you could play as Vegito, you could play as Gogeta, you could play as Frieza, you could play as Cell, you could play as one of Boo's many forms. It's totally insane, and they even released tons and tons of DLC where you could download more characters. And there's an assload of fucking characters in this game. And I'm hoping eventually one day that we'll get Moro in here. I mean, that would just be amazing. Imagine if Segenbo could also be in here as well, and Miras. Oh god, I'm getting myself too worked up and excited thinking about the numerous possibilities that could happen. But yeah, there's a lot of fun to be had in these parallel quest missions, without a doubt. You'll be spending a lot of time here. It's very addictive, especially because you want to complete and unlock them all. So, goes without saying that this is a very fun mode to play in. And man, what about the Hero Coliseum announcements from Bulma?
People of Kanton City, have you been to the Hero Coliseum yet?
Aren't those just fucking annoying beyond shit? And this game in general, I mean, I don't know, the audio to me is just kind of weird. This is like one of the few games where I actually had to turn down certain aspects of the audio because like the music is like way too loud and sometimes it drowns out the voiceovers. But no matter how you adjust it, Bulma's announcement that radiates throughout all of Canton City, no matter where you are. She's over the PA. She's unseen making this announcement. And she's always talking about the Hero Coliseum, the Hero Coliseum, the Hero Coliseum. Shut the fuck up! Oh my god! Sorry, I have to maintain my composure here, but damn. I mean, Bulma, just so annoying. I never thought that I would say that about Bulma. I love you, Bulma. You're sexy. You're hot. Okay, let's get back on track here. I mean to say that that is an annoying announcement, without a doubt. I mean, holy shit. And it seems like it comes up all the time. And there's no way that you could cancel it out. You pause the game, you unpause the game. Like, the only way to actually, like, kind of cancel it out is to, like, enter into a mission of some sort by going, you know, to the time nest or doing a parallel quest of some sort just to escape the excruciating sound of Bulma's voice. And because it's so loud. And to tell you the truth, the announcement kind of clips because it's so loud. It like exceeds the necessary volume of the fucking game itself. It's just crazy. Well, speaking of the sound though, I actually really do enjoy the music of this game. Now, once again, you know, there's like no anime music in here at all, which is just so weird to me. They always make it like DLC for some reason. Oh, you gotta buy the music for the game. Just like they did in Kakarot. Like, I'm seriously supposed to be expected to spend like $10, $15 on the fucking soundtrack? I mean, really? Like, when I could just like play it on my computer as I'm playing the game? Now, I get it, you know, it'll match up with the sound effects and all that, but I mean, still, I mean, just... Can we seriously just put the anime music in the game already? Does it really need to be separate DLC? I mean, man, oh man, it's like one thing if you want to like build off of it, like if new content is introduced, like Ultra Instinct, and you want to put that in the game, that's absolutely fine by me. I mean, I encourage it, like, okay, yeah, I could definitely see why you'd make that DLC, but the fucking music? Damn! I mean, that's just a little too much, but I've seen a lot of people complain about the music, especially when you're in Canton City, when you first start up a new game. You know, that music that plays, it sounds like a marching band, and I've heard people say that it kind of sounds like, you know, the teddy bears when Frieza's in hell and they're torturing him with that marching band music. Yeah, it does kind of sound like that in a way, but I really like the music, and I've actually played some of this music on my videos, especially my Dragon Ball videos here on this channel. I really do love the music for the Time Nest. I also like when you go to actually visit Bulma. So I actually really did enjoy a lot of the music, and even during some of the fights, I mean, there's some really rockin' tunes and some really calm ones as well. And before we wrap things up with this review, I think I should really talk about the extended story, one of the best DLCs that was released for this game, and that's the Infinite History Saga featuring Fu. And Fu is just a really fun, bizarre character that just really belongs in the Dragon Ball universe without a doubt. And Fu just so happens to be the son of Mira and Toa. And he is the nephew of Deborah, which is quite interesting to say the least, but he's nothing like them. He's not even really a villain, and he's not really a protagonist either. He's a neutral character, and all he wants to do is basically observe fighters and study energy and also absorb energy from the time rifts. If he can manage to change up the timeline enough. And it's really interesting to have this kind of character because it's very rare that you get like a neutral character. You know, you kind of think like, where are these kind of characters in Dragon Ball? It's mostly good versus evil most of the time, but I love the shades of gray that they do with Fu, where he's a likable character. He's, you know, not nefarious, but he's mischievous would probably be the best way to put it. And I just found him to be an all-round endearing character. And I gotta tell you, a lot of these crazy things that Fu does to the timeline are a lot more interesting in certain ways than in the main story. And I think that's due to the fact that these missions take place inside time rifts where basically anything could happen and it won't really change the original timeline. And they really play around with this a lot. And also, Deborah, along with a returning Demigra from the original Xenoverse, which was what I was hinting at before when I said there was going to be a main antagonist returning. And Deborah is here to avenge his sister Toa's death. And it's kind of cool to see Deborah finally getting the spotlight. And he actually manages to turn all of Kanton City's residents into stone, and there's a really good visual where you're walking around seeing this, and I think it's really interesting that they decided to make Deborah more than what he turns out to be in the anime, because a lot of people have complained about this, so it's kind of cool that they could sort of address certain complaints through the video games. So they really have a lot of fun with this, and Fu does some really crazy things, like he even powers up Videl. Now, that's a way more interesting power-up. Also, you'll help Cell fight against the androids, or you might even want to team up with the androids and fight against Cell, and even Android 13 makes his way onto the battlefield with the help of Fu. And there are so many different ways that you could go with this. You could help Fu, or you could go against Fu. You know, it's really cool. Like the situation with Videl, you could fight against Videl, and you can stop her from trying to beat up on Boo, or you could actually fight with her, and that's kind of interesting. I mean, you know, there's different scenarios and different ways of going about things. Also, depending on who your instructor is at the time, that's who you'll be teaming up with, you'll get different scenarios, and you'll get different lines of dialogue. Now, they are kind of pretty similar, but depending on certain characters that you bring into these fights, you'll sometimes get different things will happen. Like if you bring Gotenks along with you on the first mission and you're fighting against Goku and Vegeta, Gotenks' big mouth will get you into some deep shit when Goku and Vegeta decide to fuse into Gogeta. And now you have a whole different opponent than you would if you brought someone else into the fray with you. So there is just so many different possibilities, and I think Infinite History acts as a good archetype for what a full-on Dragon Ball RPG could be, because as far as I'm concerned, this just has RPG elements, the Xenoverse 2. Imagine if a lot of these paths that you took and the choices and the arcs that weave in and out of the Infinite History Saga, if there was actually consequences, because there really isn't. You know, you don't really face any consequences because of the makeup of the time rifts and the fact that they don't actually change the actual timeline. They're kind of self-contained. It would be really cool if they could have a bit more of drastic stakes to it. Like, if you make a decision, you decide to help Fu, it would have drastic consequences. And perhaps we'll get something like that in Xenoverse 3. I think that would be really interesting if we could really have, like, that sort of Knights of the Old Republic kind of feel, where if you stray a little bit too far the dark side, there's no turning back in certain circumstances. So I think that's something that it should definitely explore for the next installment of this series. So overall, in closing, this is just a fantastic game all around. and I absolutely love Xenoverse 2. I mean, all the different characters that you could play as in the parallel quests, all the different characters that you could bring with you into the different missions in the Infinite History Saga is just mind-blowing. I mean, there's so many different choices, so many possibilities. It can feel overwhelming, but it's overwhelming to the point where it kind of gets me excited, because you turn on this game and you're always going to have a lot of fun. So I really enjoyed Xenoverse 2, and I was really happy that I went back to it, because now there's so much fucking DLC for this game. There's just so much to do with it. And I think if you haven't given this game a try and you're a Dragon Ball fan, I think you're really missing out on something truly special. This is definitely a gift to Dragon Ball fans. And, it's crazy how they've avoided managing to release Xenoverse 3, because they've kept this game alive for, at the end of the year. This is going to be a 6-year-old game. So it's 5.5 years old already. Jesus Christ. I mean, that's just truly astounding. I can't remember the last time I've seen a game being built upon in this manner, for this long as it has. I mean, that's almost like World of Warcraft kind of levels of, keeping this game alive. So, guys, let me know what you think about the game in the comments down below. I hope you all enjoyed the review, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bells to get all notifications when I post on my new videos. And I want to thank all my patrons for your continued support. And thanks again, guys. I will see you next time.